So this is Ollie Brock, designer of the block by block medallion, commemorating 200 years since the death of Major General Sir Isaac Brock. I'm going to show you the prototype coin first. This is silver, 999.9 fine silver. As you can see, the obverse carries a portrait of Brock taken from the shipper portrait, which is the only one that was carried out, completed during his adult life. As you can see, we've got portrait of Brock, the words Major General Sir Isaac Brock around the rim, just around here, and the dates of his life, 1769 to 1812 at the bottom. Now you may be able to see from this image here that there are some defects on the coin that we have been ironing out. One is that the rim here is very thin, prone to damage, nicks and scrapes and such. And the second on this side is that the shoulder, this area here, is very thick. If I turn the coin around, you can see that thickness in his shoulder, and that's actually forcing the rim of the coin to be pushed down, so that's a problem in the minting process. That caused us to have to use a 100-ton press for the first 20 of these coins, so it's obviously a high load. We need to try and get that down, so we've had to redesign that corner of the coin. You can see the texture is consistent throughout, obviously polished silver. Very pleasant little object there. Now if we look at the rim, you can see just how thick this rim is, 3mm. It's a nice thick chunk of coin. It's 1 ounce, 1 troy ounce of fine silver. And then we move on to the reverse, which carries a compound image of the Battle of Queenston Heights. Around the rim again we have a motto, "Push on the York Volunteers," said to be Brock's last words, and at the bottom on the rim here, 13th of October 1812, which is obviously the date of the battle. Now if I can just explain the collage of images here, I'll bring it a little bit closer, you should be able to see a little bit better. On the bottom corner here we've got a litter of maple leaves on the battlefield. We then move in on this side here to a map of the battlefield, where you've got Queenston here, Brock and MacDonald's charge up the hill. We have the Redan battery just here. We have the river, Niagara River here, with Van Rensselaer coming across the river in his bateau, and we have the American units forcing their way up the cliff path into the Redan, forcing Brock to make his fateful charge up the hill. Then we have a little bit of an image here, an engraving here of the US flag at the time, up on the Redan battery, with, if I can pull this a little bit closer for you, just get it into position, there we go, with a cannon at the top there. Now you can see the cannon, you see some US artillerymen, and then we've got this little fella here, who's one of the Kentucky riflemen that's said to have been present at the battle, who by eyewitness accounts came out of a bush or a bit of woodland and fired the fateful musket ball, which is this round section here, which flies out of the coin. It's actually raised off the surface of the coin, if you can see that, and that's our composite image. Now, problems with this side, we've got the flat spot on the coin there, which you can see quite clearly here. Again, we've got a bit too much weight in the maple leaves at the bottom here. We've got no difference in texture, so the image is actually quite confusing and difficult to read at times, and we've got the same problem with the rim in terms of the width of the rim, so that gives you an idea. Now if I lay that down there, and I'll pick up 2 coins which you might be more familiar with. We have a Canadian quarter, 25-cent piece. You can see the scale of that sitting next to our item, and then a Canadian $1, which is there. So as you can see, this is a big chunk of silver. There's the Canadian dollar. That's how thick the Canadian dollar is. And then we look at the thickness of this. That's a fine weight of silver that you're looking at there. So that gives us our background